Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We only have 6 people viewing right now, but I guarantee you it will go up because we have Mark from Long Island Watch in the house this evening. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great, man. We've also got Mitch down there and Jen G, our usual panelist. Blake is off at a, Las Vegas Knights hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to be here tonight. So he flaked on us again. But that's okay. We've got plenty of people to talk to Mark this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess before we go any further, people are going to ask. So I've already introduced you, but maybe you should introduce yourself in the way that you do.
Oh, goodness. Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com.
There
It's
you
funny.
go.
It always just falls out that way.
Yeah, that's perfect.
One of the first words I ever spoke online. Yeah, kind of crazy.
Want to welcome folks in tonight, including Rufus, Philip Hurst Media, who is planning on, who is developing his own watch brand. So he's interested to see and hear what you have to say tonight about doing that. We've got Bill D29 in. We've got Trap Vision 3D, and I hope, Trap, that you're feeling better. Trap had a serious issue with his family this weekend and a great loss to him and to his family, and so we wish you well, and we hope that you're doing better. We've got Burbinghart in tonight, and Always Best Care Senior Services, among others. Trap is wearing an Islander for this episode. So are most of the panel. So wait till you see what we're wearing. Let's get a wrist check tonight and see. We'll start with our guest, Mark. What's on the wrist tonight this evening, sir?
So let's see. So on one wrist, it's the Lume Shot collab. This was out, I don't know, I think this was December. And then San Martin diver, orange degrading dial.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Let's go with Miss Jen tonight. What's on the wrist tonight?
Well, I'm rocking my Seiko tank and
Nice.
Your heart monitor.
Meter.
All of us with heart problems on here.
Yeah.
Mr. Mitch, I know it's on your wrist, but show us.
I've got 2 watches. One is the Islander King's Point.
Nice.
Love the design and the contrast, and the case is an interesting design as well. Really good value for the money. And then on the other wrist, I have a G-Shock Casio that Jen painted the dial for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jen's an artist, and she does dials and her painting behind her she did of the Daytona.
That's awesome.
And she's been selling the Daytona paintings, and I've got one on the way, and it's very, very cool. So that'll go up in the background as soon as I get it.
You can't see this very well on the camera, but it's got a music motif.
That's so cool.
Clarinet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Around the they have the little side hand that usually is like day of the week or whatever.
Yeah.
I see it, yeah.
I actually did like a treble clef around that glows in the dark, and then got a staff above it that's got notes that glow in the dark. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this great program. Like
now, if only I could glow in the dark. That would be something.
Then you'd keep your wife awake at night, and nothing good happens when that happens.
Well, I have my own nightlight.
Yes, there you go. So first of all, I want to get into, we'll talk about how you built the brand and what led you to start it. I think a lot of people know that story, but in case folks haven't heard it, we want to let them hear it. But first, I wake up this morning, and in my inbox, first thing is the latest from Islander Watch, and you released a new watch today.
Yeah, so you wake up late.
Yeah, I do. No, you set it to go out automatically early.
Well, yeah, that goes out. Newsletters typically go out at 11 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I guess it's 10 o'clock for you.
Yeah. I saw it at 10 o'clock. I just finished some my early part of work, and there it is. And bring it up here.
Yeah, and that's it. So that came out today. Definitely a departure from what we typically do.
Yeah, the Astoria. And I know that you said in your video that you didn't know how many people would go for the blue. The blue's my favorite.
The blue came out really well. Actually, in order of popularity right now, it's the white, the blue, and then the black, which kind of surprised me, not surprised me. Black is typically the best-selling color of anything, but in this situation, it's totally flipped.
Yeah. You know, in my mind, and all of the dress watches that I have have a white or a silver dial. And so when I saw the silver dial, I said, well, that might be the one I'd go for, except I already have 2 dress watches that look like that.
Right.
And this would look really good with a suit, with a blue suit. You have the dark blue suit and the light blue watch kind of contrasting off of each other. This is the one that I'm going to get one eventually, and that's the one I'm going to get. Yeah,
I want to say we narrowed. I think we went with 5 dial colors, or maybe even 6. And then these are the 3 that we wound up with. And then if these are popular and do well, we'll roll out other colors in the future.
Yeah, and we'll bring up the white dial as well. And what I really also like about it, and let me see if we can there's a bigger picture. Look at that dial. The textured dial. Yeah. Well, let's see. It's not for some reason it's not showing up here on the stream.
Probably
I put the big picture up, but it's not doing it.
JavaScript. It's like a zoom box.
Yeah. So the textured dial is something that is also really, really nice. For those people who may not be able to see it, since we can't blow it up anymore, what are the textures? You've got the radial on the outside.
Yeah. So so inside the railroad track, so let's say like 50% of the inner 50% of the dial is, I got to get the name right from the designer. It is the hypnotic eye, and it is It's like petal, like lines of a petal, leaves of a petal, kind of curves, and some other lines intermingled, and they're kind of wrapped around, if you would imagine, like a torus, like a donut, and that's kind of the pattern that you get. You can kind of see it there.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw it, it almost reminded me of a stained glass window design almost.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
Like a lotus. It reminds
like a lotus flower,
like a lotus,
yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And then when you go outside the chapter ring, or whatever I don't know what you call it, the inner chapter ring, you get those radial striations, almost like a scratch tile, emanating from the center.
Yeah, it's a stunning watch, Mark. It really is.
Wow.
Thank you.
But you said something on the video that caught my interest, and that is that one of your next watches to come out is your version of a flighty.
It's so funny that, yeah. I said it. It's like I'd say like 10% or 15% of the comments on the video are, I was barely watching, and then I heard you say something about the flight. Yeah, I've got 4 different colors of a Flight Master coming out. My version of it. It's gonna. I'll break all etiquette here. It's gonna look like a Seiko Flight Master, just in different colorways.
Okay.
I mean, I took the same movement. It's got the same dials. I did simplify the slide rule. I got rid of some of the pilot stuff that people simply won't use, like gallons and pounds conversions. But it is a real functional slide rule. Has screw down button, sapphire crystal, 20 millimeter bracelet instead of 21. So it should be cool. It's the same size. It's not going to be bigger. It's not going to be smaller. So, yeah. I just don't know when that's going to come out. I got to figure that one out.
Yeah. So I've got 2 now that I've got to get from you, because I've always wanted a flighty and I've never gotten one.
Yeah.
And I might just do that one. So that is awesome. We have a super chat in $5 from JD Smoking Pipes. Evening all, upvote in. Yes, please be sure to upvote. We really do appreciate it. And we've got one from Happy Meal. Robert, this is a thank you super chat. I changed my background and it was a hit. Boomers helping boomers. Okay. Mark, was that you on TGV's live stream the other day? Thanks again, Robert.
Yeah, Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that was on and I missed it totally because I was out.
It was so funny. It was I texted to see I'm not a sports fan, and neither is he. Well, at least I'm no sports fan, but he doesn't know really anything about American football. And I texted him like the day before. I'm like, just so you know, there's really some really big games I hear on Sunday. And he's like, he's like, not like I don't care, but he's like, it's too late now. It is what it is. I know a lot of people missed it because they were watching the games.
Yeah, I was watching the games, but I wasn't even home at the time. So,
yeah, no
there's two reasons I missed it, but I want to go back and look at it, see what you guys had to say.
That was fun.
So, talk to me about why you started Islander in the first place. It has to do, you've always been kind of interconnected with Seiko.
Yeah.
And this is really kind of cements that.
Yeah, it's like the culmination of it. I've been selling Seiko for at least in one form or another. It probably goes back, I have to think about it. It could be close to 20 years. Maybe like 2005, 2006, I started selling some of the overseas Seiko 5 models. And it became the whole brand became a good thing for the store. And then in the early 2010s, I really got deep into the SKX world, and I started selling loads of SKX 007s, 009s, 013s, 011s, and became pretty much one of the preeminent sources here in the States to purchase them. And it was taking off to the tune of a few thousand units a year, which was, really impressive. It wasn't necessarily, I don't want to say a moneymaker. It was a revenue generator, and it was a store traffic maker. I don't want to call it a loss leader. I still made money on it, but it wasn't that much. And then during a trip to Basel in 2019, I learned firsthand that what I had been hearing since 2017 was actually true. Person who was in charge of actually sunsetting the product looked at it and said, yeah, I killed that. There's gonna be no more coming out after like 2019 or so. And, on the train ride back from Basel to Zurich, I kind of like racked my brain around how I was going to fill the void in the store. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll just make my own, because in the same meeting, I had happened to see the new 5 that was coming out. These are the 5s that came out in like spring of 2020. SRPD 51, 53, 55. And, hard wax crystal, push-pull crowns, no ISO, crummy bracelets, the usual stuff, aluminum bezel inserts. And by that time, I had been deep into the parts market and the SKX parts market, and I knew what it cost to procure all the parts for a watch. I didn't really think much about assembly, quality, test, etc. But yeah, so I just got in my brain to make my own alternative to that watch, or a stepped up version, the version that everybody wanted, an SKX with sapphire and ceramic and a better bracelet. And Islander ISL 01 and 02 were born. They came out, so Islander came out September of 2019. And that's when it all started.
Yeah. And you've really grown the brand to, the way you were talking about what Seiko did for your business early on. It seems like that's what Islander is doing for you now. Is it kind of your gateway to get it in the store?
Yeah, it's a good round robin kind of thing. It's kind of what happened. The store did well for many years. Obviously, my profession is engineering. My degrees are in engineering. My licenses are in engineering. I worked in aerospace from 98 to 2011. I grew the Long Island watch business while I worked full-time as an engineer. And then in 2011, my oldest was starting kindergarten. He's now at Penn State. So so my oldest, who was starting in kindergarten, I needed, my wife and I needed someone to put him on the bus, take him off the bus. And my wife is a CPA. And I had I said, hey, I think it's time for me to stay home and run the business, and I'll walk away from engineering. And I did. And that was 14, that was 14 years ago. I've been out of engineering longer than I was in it, which is kind of crazy at this point. But yes, I grew the business, and the business did very well. But then when I got Islander involved and started running with Islander, that's when I realized, the potential and what it could be. Instead of selling someone else's stuff, selling your own stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And how hard was it to build it to where it is today? Because I mean, Islander, I think, is one of the most successful micro brands in the country. I may be wrong about that. You would know better than I because you own it.
No, I wouldn't know.
But it's the one I hear about the most.
I just know what I do because, I know my business. I know my numbers, and I'm very happy. I employ people and everyone does well. But I don't know what other people do, but I'm happy with the business that I do. It may be the brand you always hear about because there's name one other YouTuber, and there is one that has their own brand. And that's kind of why if I didn't have the channel, the brand wouldn't have been as successful. If I hadn't built up, 18 years of a following or, 17 years of a following before launching the brand, I don't think I really, really doubt it would have done what it did. If I just kind of showed up day one and said, hey, Seiko discontinued the SKX, I have something for you. It's called Islander, but you've never met me before. I think it would have flopped on its face. I truly do. Maybe I have imposter syndrome, but I feel it's the way it is. It's just, you say, how hard was it to build? It wasn't. I look back and like, wow, nights staying up in another bedroom, filling orders, answering emails, whatever. I still answer most of the emails, but it's been over 20 years and you build it brick by brick. And then you turn around 20 plus years later and you go, wow, okay. It's a building. It's a building at this point.
Yeah.
So
that's very cool. Go ahead, Jim.
I think it's interesting. You kind of hit a perfect pocket to start it up in. Because if it would have gone till COVID and you had even, started maybe 5-6 years later than you did as far as going full time or even getting it started and having Seiko in there, I think it would have been a lot harder trajectory, to be honest.
Yeah. It was, so many things in so many successes in life are right place, right time.
Yeah.
And this was right place. This was right time. And it just 100% worked out.
Yeah. I mean, for the reasons you described, you had managed to differentiate yourself in an area that's always been difficult, but now is even more difficult. I mean, micro brands to differentiate your oneself in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I started, I'm sure there were a whole bunch of micro brands already around, but maybe a couple dozen. Now it's got to be it's hundreds, I'm sure. And it's much hard. Same thing with YouTube channels. And same thing. I have this discussion with TGV probably every conversation lately. It's, if I would have started today, I don't think I could build the audience I built because it's just, it was so easier back then to build an audience. The differentiator today is so much more difficult.
Yeah. It's easy to get lost in the noise.
My God. So I watch other channels and I go, wow, their photography, videography, scripting, this is amazing stuff. And then I look and I go, 800 views in a week. How do you find the wherewithal to continue, kind of thing? It is amazing.
You mentioned the other YouTuber with his own watch brand who was our guest last week.
It's so funny because I guess, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm on YouTube all the time. I actually don't watch much watch related content, if you could believe that. And I happen to just open my phone app and all of a sudden I see Jody talking and he was up in the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, Jody's on a channel. I go, wait a second. I think I'm on this channel next week. I go,
you are.
You see how it is. So it's kind of
We're
funny.
lining them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's cool that you saw Jody. Jody had said he was going to try to stop by the chat tonight, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's going to make it or not. I haven't seen him in there yet, so I'm looking for it.
That'd be awesome. I was watching and I was like, oh, I want to chime in. I want to say something.
So, and you met him last year in New York, right? For the first time.
That was
in
awesome.
person.
Yes.
And tell me about doing the shows like that, because you do the shows all over the country, taking islanders to the shows.
Yeah.
What's it like meeting everybody in person and
crazy?
Yeah.
It is absolutely it's mind-boggling. Yeah, I don't inside the show I am a celebrity. 5 feet outside the front door, I am a nobody. It is insane. The first show we did, New York 2022. I mean, my marketing guy Clinton, he said, "You just wait, Mark. They are going to be lined up to meet you." And I said, "You are crazy. No way." And the door opened, and we were all the way in the back, in the corner, and people, they literally ran. And I was like, oh my God, here they come. You're right. And it's awesome. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's certainly not lost on me one bit. When I travel somewhere and someone recognizes me or whatever it is, I love it. I won't lie.
You did Wind Up New York. You've done Wind Up Chicago, right?
Yeah, I've done. So we've done 7. I've done every show since October of 2022. We'll be in Dallas in March.
Oh, okay.
It's coming down to Dallas. That's a new location they're targeting. I think it's only like 30 or 40 vendors. It's not many. Yeah,
I'll have to go check that. Since I'm in Austin, I could run up to Dallas for the day.
You're not that far.
No, about 3.5 hour drive. Not bad.
It's in the same state. I guess with Texas, that's a totally
that's
with Texas, you got to be careful. It could be like driving to California.
It's like driving from New York to Bar Harbor, Maine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah, exactly. I've done that.
Yeah,
I have. And so then we'll be in. So actually, we're doing district time. That's in DC. That's the second weekend in March. And then the weekend after that, we are on the Dallas show. And then I think it's July is Chicago. No. I missed one. April. Is it April or May? Is San Francisco.
San Francisco, right?
Yeah. July is Chicago. And then back to New York in October.
Yeah. That's quite a schedule. And as you said, you're kind of a star inside the venues.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good though, that people are such big fans that they want to meet you in person.
Yeah. What's cool is that, not necessarily they want to buy something. A lot of people like to get hands-on with Islanders because you really can't see them anywhere unless you're in Bozeman, Montana. That's the only retail store that has but it's more of, I have some video content out there that's 7-8 years old that's been viewed a few million times. How to size a watch strap or whatever, and people or how to change a bezel, and people just want to say thank you for the content, and that to me is awesome. It's so great.
You saved me personally from ruining a watch strap when I was cutting it.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lifesaver.
Just remember, everything I've shown, that means I've ruined something already.
Oh, I'm aware of that because you even said that. You're like, trust me, this is from experience.
Yeah, I have a boneyard.
Mark scratches watches, so you don't have to.
You don't have to. Absolutely.
Right. We've got a question from Nate, the ghost of Yiddish Gambino. Great show tonight, an awesome panel. Mark, I just saw the video on the Astoria, which we opened the show with tonight. Great dress watch, and Nate is a dress watch aficionado. That's almost everything he's got in his collection. Have you thought of doing one that looks like a Cartier Santos Dumont?
Well, I'll tell you, it is so. This is so outside our normal course of business. When we were backstage before, we were talking about divers. I'm a diver guy. I really don't do much else. I've done pilots, I've done some fields, but I'm really a round case diver guy. It's such a departure. And judging on the success, I mean, I had nothing to do with this design. It was all done by Ryan, who I hired about almost 5 years ago at this point. He did all the design work, and it was a long time. But I think I would, explore doing other shapes in the non-round arena.
Yeah.
But it is not that doing anything is easy, but when it's not round, it's so much more difficult. Because as the hands go around the dial, you have to kind of, tell yourself, well, it's okay that when it's pointing up, it's going to be short, and when it's pointing right, it's going to be long. And it's, it's all about finding a balance, which is stupid as it sounds. But once you commit to building 300, 400, 500, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And let me get this question from Birmingham, and then we'll continue with what I was thinking. True or false, does Mark have a YouTube troll account where he says what he really thinks about other channels and watch brands?
Yeah, right.
Thanks for the super chat, Burp.
The only other videos that I really watch are about aviation. So not really. I honestly don't follow. I think I'm sub to just a couple other channels, but I don't watch the content. It's simply because I freaking live it. And it's like a chef. Does a chef come home and make dinner for his whole family or her whole family? Not really. I had enough. I want to watch something else when I get home. And then plus I watch other people's videos and I'm like, whoa, how does that person have 30,000 views in a day from that? And I think mine's better. So I just forget it. I can't watch it.
It's kind of like when I was on the radio and people would say, well, outside of, when you're not on the radio, what stations do you listen to? I said, I don't.
Silence.
Yeah. Or CDs or something like that, because radio is work. I don't want to be around work when I'm not working.
Right.
I'm sorry, Jen, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, no. You didn't. I got what I needed to say. So,
so what is, and you talked about, you said you watch aviation. I guess you watch the Citation channel like I do. But tell me about your piloting and your aviation experience, which is not, that's your thing, right?
Yeah. It's a pastime. I like to keep myself busy because I'm either working or sleeping or one day dead. So I like to fill in the void with something to do. And years ago, I learned, I got my open water certificate. So I did scuba diving, and that was cool. But on Long Island, it's kind of useless. You really can't, unless you go on vacation somewhere, you really can't scuba here. I've done it, but you can't see a hand in front of your face.
Yeah.
So a bunch of years ago, I've always wanted to get my pilot's license, like always, since I was a little kid. Always infatuated with flight. I'm an aerospace engineer, so love planes. Worked on airborne avionics for 13 years or so. And my wife was fairly always against it, simply because we live near a small private airport, and I don't want to say planes go down all the time, but once a year or so, there's usually a plane that goes down. And but finally she relented, and I started my journey. I got my PPL in November, and I haven't flown that much. Now transitioning to a different aircraft, so I'm in those lessons now, and I don't know, just like to keep myself busy. But I love flying. It's so cool. Not even with a destination in mind, just going up and twinkling around.
Yeah. Ali Reza, who is helping us with the show tonight, I bought 3 watches from Mark, 2 Squale, a rose and a purple, and 1 Hemel. Aside from Islander and Seiko, does Mark have favorites that he carries? Not necessarily favorites in your business, but the watches themselves.
So what, my own personal favorite brands?
Yeah, that you carry in the store.
Or that I carry.
And then we'll go to your personal favorite brands, if they're different.
I'm a like he said, he said, aside from Seiko, I'm a freaking Seiko-aholic. I've got a drawer of Seiko. That I carry. I don't own one, but I am really, really, well, I guess I'll say Squale. Squale, I own a bunch of Squale. Love them. But Henry Archer on the micro end, what that guy is doing with watches, granted, there's only 3 or 4 watches in his stable, but his dial work and stuff, amazing. Totally amazing. I can't. Beautiful. Totally beautiful. And yeah, it's just so cool looking.
And you just started carrying him, right? Or am I wrong about that?
I mean, just is relative. I want to say he was August of 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
It's a little over.
Yeah,
here.
those are nice.
Yeah, they really are. It does a really nice job.
Yeah,
it really does.
The purple dial, black PVD.
Yep,
definitely in my future.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they look even better in person. I mean, a lot of this is art renderings, not real photography, because he's also very good with the graphics. It is beautiful. Love it. But I guess I said as much. I love my Squale. I have, I don't know, 4 of them, I think.
So let's talk about not necessarily that you carry, just other than Seiko, which I would assume is still your favorite brand overall.
Yeah.
What else do you love? Because people may not know, you've got a bunch of different watches. You've got a chest of drawers full of watches.
I sure do. So what's favorite in the store itself?
Just to you personally, maybe out of your personal collection.
I mean,
what are some of your favorites?
There's brands I admire that I don't even own.
Yeah.
Frederic Constant. I'd love to own one day. I don't. And then there's also the watches that we lust after. I do have a UN. I do like UN. I'd love to own a Freak one day.
Me too.
I like a lot of the higher end. I want to get a Patek annual calendar or perpetual calendar one day. I mean, they're all on the to-do list. But it's funny because as TGV beat me to it. I wanted a Brigade tradition, and then he went out and got one. He kind of killed it for me. But I like those because they're different, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Martin Braun EOS, which was a watch that came out, man, it's got to be 20 years ago. It was a sunrise sunset indicator watch with analog needles on it. I always just like things that are different. Like I said, the Ulysse Nardin Freak. It's just different. But as I'm in it longer and longer, I find, as crazy as it sounds, I get joy out of things that just aren't as expensive anymore. Casio, I have 3 of them at this point, and I don't see myself stopping. It's kind of funny how it, I want to say it comes full circle, but you strive after something, and then you wind up wearing the affordable things again.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I've never had the resources to play at the deep end of the pool, but I kind of like the shallow end. It's just fine. And there's a lot of fun to be had in the shallow end of the pool too. Jen, what were you going to say?
I mean, there's other people in other parts of our community here on YouTube. One person in particular, and he has a Tiffany stamp Patek. So, I mean, you can't get much further than that. And he has gone on record to say, I will die with a Submariner and a Bluesy, and that will be it. He said, I don't care what it all will end up back that direction. Which is funny to hear.
Everything goes back the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, I've got about 40 watches, 32 of which are more or less in the Islander cost range.
Yeah.
Because you can play without being obsessed with the financial commitment.
Yeah, no, and that's totally, if somebody hears, you have a chest of drawers that holds, 250 or 300 watches or whatever, they're amazed. But I'm like, well, if it's filled with $100, $200, $300 watches, it's really not that amazing. But it is to me because I love it. I open it and I'm like, what am I going to wear? What should I play with? And it's half of one drawer where every watch is north of a few grand, but I don't reach for that too often. I put on my white gold Daytona the other day. I hadn't worn it in I don't know how long, easily months. I don't know. It's not the same thing. I'd rather wear the cheaper stuff, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah. I have fun with the cheaper stuff as well.
Yeah.
Member chat from Anthony P. Love the way you did the lume on the Astoria.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very it's subtle. You know, it doesn't detract in the daylight, which is important because I guess a lot of dress watches don't do lume. Bambino, for example. But you know, just subtle outlines, and that way at night you can see the time. You see the hands because the hands are done well, but the numbers, the Romans are just done slightly, so you can kind of make them out, and you can get your orientation. You can tell the time, and that's it.
It's very cool. AB $5 super chat. Hey, Mark, I recently bought an Islander Oyster bracelet for my Seiko 5 GMT. Love it. Solid feeling and great quality and value. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is crazy. I mean, we're up to bracelet number, I think 116 now.
Yeah. But you cannot beat the quality of your bracelets. I don't know who makes them for you, but they are fantastic. All screw pin. They fit perfectly. They're wonderful bracelets.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's when, you know, I guess when Seiko puts out such a shitty product, it's pretty easy. It's not just them, you know, it's Citizen too. I've taken it from Citizen and Bulova, and I'll keep going.
Well, and there are high-end watches that can't even get that right. And
yeah, I've heard that too.
We had the gentleman from the watch company in Texas. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I asked him, I said, you know, what is the biggest challenge in making a bracelet specifically for a watch? And it's all geometry. Like,
yeah,
the taper's got to be right.
Yep.
The sides have to be right. Does it dig in? All these things that, you know, you wouldn't think about. But again, it's the first thing that you touch on the watch.
Right. True.
You know, and it's like, you got to get that right.
Right. No, it's true. And thank you. Appreciate it. The integration is like so difficult to get right. Especially when some of these brands don't really, I mean, I granted, so the Duro is, for example, you know, at that price point, I don't think they're really NCing the lug holes for the bracelet, you know, to exacting tolerances. So you have to sample a whole bunch of cases to get it, you know, that the bracelet fits all the time. And even then we still give you an extra pair of spring bars that are a little bit thinner, just in case it doesn't snap into place right. And then you have a company like Bulova, who when they do the same watch and Orient does this too. They do a watch on a bracelet, they do a watch on a strap. It's the same exact watch, but they drill the lug holes in a different position.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
It's insane. And people it happens all the time. You know, how come you say the Orient Ray bracelet won't fit my Ray that came with a rubber strap? It's the same watch. Well, no, trust me, it won't fit. They drill the holes when it's the rubber strap. They drill the holes further down the lugs. Why?
It's a scandal.
Yeah, I think it's just a perfection. I think it's just a perfectionist thing.
Yeah.
Well, and you had mentioned, we were talking before the show started about the Bulova, or actually it was during the show, about the Bulova bracelets. Those are all different because the lug holes are different in all of the lunar pilots.
So I have four different bracelets for the 43.5, and then for the 45, for the brushed, and for the blasted, and then for strap, and then for bracelet. I did not make one for the dark side, the black one. I did not make one for the titanium meteorite. Other than that, I had to make 4 bracelets, which means I had to sacrifice a whole bunch of cases. It's kind of amazing. And then getting the sandblasting color right. It's still not perfect all the time. It's difficult.
So we have one question here from Cypher Kicks, and this goes into kind of the homage watch area of a Pagani design, 1752, date 836, green dial, date 8, gold case and bracelet. What are your thoughts? My thoughts would be to get a Brookville, but that's just my thoughts. like I got my girlfriend who loves it, by the way. So
Thank you.
what are your thoughts on the homage brands like Pagani Design? You carry San Martin, but that's more than a homage brand now. They make
Yeah, I
their own
mean,
design.
there's models that are, and then there's models that aren't, right? Whereas I
Right.
think Pagani is, I don't really follow them, but they're mostly, I want to say, mostly homage pieces. I mean, the whole getting the look for less thing. If you're imitating a $40,000 watch with a $150 watch, that's so give people a look. I really don't see a major issue with it. I clearly, people would argue that a lot of the Islanders are homages. I clearly don't have a problem with it. There's no trademark infringement. There's no patent infringement. There's none of that going on. If you're against it, don't buy it. If you like it, buy it. And I'm kind of from that school.
Yeah, we got a $20 super chat from Tariq, rocking my first Islander X Lume shot collab. There you go.
I'm wearing the second one. I guess he might be wearing the first one.
Thanks for joining the best Tuesday watch stream in the industry, Tariq. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tariq used to be on our panel all the time, and then he had this thing of putting his kids to bed. I don't know what the hell that was.
Been there.
Stop it. Kids will grow up later. Just come on the stream. But we thank you. We thank you, Tariq, really very much for that. Yeah, there's the Lume shot. I guess that's the one you're wearing right now, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I don't always take a watch that I sell. Typically there are overages, or let's say there's a defect. I'll wear defective ones as well. Like let's say there's something wrong with the alignment, whatever. That stuff doesn't really bother me. But this is one that, I said to Eric, I'm like, damn, I'm taking one because he did such a nice job on it.
Yeah, no, and I really like the way the GMT hand is on that watch. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Where you've got the if Ali, I don't know if we can get it. Yeah, there we go. There's a good. So I really like that where you've got it pointed towards the inner chapter ring, but you've also got the bezel to do a third time zone if you want it.
Yep.
I really, really like that watch.
Yeah, me too. It is beautiful. And the smaller Samurai is, even though it's whatever, 37, 38, it certainly doesn't appear like it. It doesn't wear like it either.
Yeah. And I like the kind of the sharp edges on the top of the case.
Yep.
As well. And you've done a couple like that. Your new GMT collab with TGV has those kind of, it's a different kind of case, but it's kind of has the sharp edges, sharp angles. Yeah.
Yeah. All angles.
Yeah. What's coming up? Are you going to do another one with him?
It's funny. I was just talking to him about that. He doesn't know yet.
Oh, come on, dude. Get with it.
Come on. He'll don't worry. I'll get him to relent. I'll get him to relent. He's actually, when he heard I was doing a flight master, he said, I have to get my hands on one. I said, calm down. Okay, fine.
Yes. Well, I do too, but I don't know you well enough to ask you that just yet.
We'll talk later.
Give me two or three shows and we'll get one from you. Oh my. Yeah, I like the new TGV watch. And I mean, it's also something that you hadn't done before with that kind of a case. You're talking about the Tourneau case. That's really
totally out of the book of anything we've ever done before. For sure.
Giving me Flow Prof vibes.
It's got like Lynn Verlin vibes. But he did a crazy job, and the casework is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We've got Anthony P, $5 super chat. Mark, the Lume on my Islander Monster abalone dial is incredible. Oh, cool. I put it on one of your white rubber straps for the summer and love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I should ask, what do you use for Lume? Because the Lume on my Islander is
Super Luminova.
Yeah, just regular Super Luminova.
Yeah, typically it's C3. And then since C3 has a very greenish cast to it, we will typically add a little bit of white pigment to it. just to kind of lighten it up a bit. C1 is a lighter pigment, but it tends to not glow as well. So usually C3. And then MBGW9 if it's blue.
Yeah, because I think your Lume stacks up pretty well against Seiko Luma Bright.
Yeah, that's what most people say. I mean, with Seiko, it's all about, how heavy they glop it on, and they definitely glop it on. On a lot of their divers, it is super duper thick.
Yeah, I like them though. I like them, and I like your watches, and
thank you.
Really, really do. Mitch, you've been quiet for a while. Any questions?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to whether you've given any thought to getting involved in the design of more complicated watches, either in terms of working with a movement company or a module company to go a little bit more upscale without going crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, because I tried to go upscale with a Swiss movement a couple of years ago, and even though the design was excellent, the public didn't seem to have an appetite for a $900 Islander. So it kind of, it made me realize a lot about a brand and what it can and can't do. And that was the Republic. It was a Solita SW330 GMT. So I'm bringing that watch back with a Miyota 9075, and I can bring the price down. But it's funny you should mention that about the modules, because I'm starting to see in some of my, I guess, my internet travels, companies making modules that will stack onto Miyota movements to make them more complicated. I'm hesitant, to say the least.
Fair enough.
So not yet, but it does intrigue me. Like Seagull just came out with Rattrapant, 500 units, I think. I really, really want to buy one, because I always wanted to own a Rattrapant, but I just have questions on the reliability of something with that much complex gearing going on.
Yeah, because you've got two companies, one Xeric and another one Adawak, that have created sort of Urwork clones.
Yeah, so I have
modules.
I have what do I have? I have a Xeric. What's it called? Oh my God, it's a carousel watch. It's the carousel, but I forgot what the name of it is. It's got the Urwork 3 things, and and that is cool. I will admit, but I feel there's a limited. While I enjoy the coolness and it's so different, I do feel it's a very limited market. I love odd stuff, like I said before, with a Freak. Freak is very limited for UN. It's not it's not a Maxi Marine chronometer. Like I said, I love strange things, but I am strange. That is beautiful on screen.
There's your Seagull Retropont.
So I'm into the technology.
Yeah, I'm very curious to know how that whole module on top of a Miyota works, because that to me is just, I know how like a DD module works. I guess it's a similar thing. I really have my reservations. It's right up there with Chinese tourbillons kind of thing.
Yeah. Always Best Care Senior Services brings up, I'm amazed we've gotten this far in the interview with Mark with no mention of the Northport yet. Shocking.
I wore one the last 2 days. I'm not wearing one today.
So let's talk about the Northport, because that's been really, especially the blue gradient dial, one of your best sellers, hasn't it?
Yeah. The ISL 155 is the best seller. That's the 157. That one's gone. The 155 and the 195 are the top sellers. This one is the top selling Northport. It's the second best selling Islander, with, I want to say, a little over 800 units sold.
Oh, wow.
And that's within 3 years, 2.5 years or so far. That's another Ryan product. That was one of his first successes, and it's been through want to say maybe 6 or 7 iterations. And 2 or 3 of the color schemes are the ones that have really, really stuck.
And we were talking about, summer watch earlier. That's a perfect summer watch right there.
Oh, sure is.
That and the blue for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. White rubber strap. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the one that I'm wearing is is that still your top seller?
Yeah. Yeah, that one saw, you know what it is it was a lot easier to sell Islanders, 4 or 5 years ago when nobody owned one. But now that a lot of the audience, my direct reach audience owns one, is how do you sell them another one and another one and another one? And it's a problem that I'm learning about. That the ISL 18 that you were wearing, we've sold over 17 or 1800 units. But it's an 18, which means it came out, I don't know, probably 2020 or so. And it was a good looking watch. And we shot through them constantly. They just kept, and even today, they keep churning. They don't churn like they used to, but they keep churning. But like I said, when most of the audience has one, how do you sell them another one? Well, you create the Astoria, and hopefully then it's something different for them.
You create the Astoria, you create the Flight Master that you have coming up.
Right.
You create, you had the speaking of seagull movements, you had the little chronograph that you came out with about a year ago.
Yep.
I guess with the seagull movement.
Yep.
I mean, you do different things, which you're great at doing. Trying
to keep it varied. Definitely the line, there's a DNA in the line for sure, but there's no inbreeding. There's no you could look at 2 Islanders without the logo on them and you would never guess they're from the same company. Whereas you can take two brew watches and you'll know immediately that, they were designed by the same guy. That to me that's like true design. Like that's amazing.
So are you still doing some of the designing, or is it all?
It's like 50-50 kind of. Ryan does a great deal of it. And then I kind of have my own little projects that I do on the side. If I say I want to redo the Flight Master, that doesn't take much because most of the design's already laid down. Seiko just literally stopped making it. So there's not much to do. Just try to make something that looks like this, and then refinements and stuff, and getting samples and trying them and saying change this, do that. But I still like to dabble in it. I don't want to lose my place in it.
So when you're sitting down to design a watch, let's say one from scratch, kind of walk me through the process.
Well, I guess a lot of it starts with, I'm not a designer. I'll work with designers. It's a lot of verbal, or, it's a lot of requirements first. I got to think, what do I want to sell at? What price am I going to sell at? Because that's going to dictate, the movement and a bunch of other things. And then, okay, what size do I want to be in? And then what genre do I want to be in? And then start from there. If I want to be a diver, a lot of things are already predefined for me. It's going to be a bezel. It's going to be a round case. It's more than likely going to be a 20 or a 22 millimeter bracelet. Things like that. And then likewise, if it's a pilot, it's going to be round. It's going to be simple. It's going to be plain. There's not going to be much on the dial. And start throwing ideas around, and I'll get a whole bunch of different ideas together. I'll look at it. I'll make my decisions, and then kind of keep reiterating. And eventually, once you land on, I'll say, a design that's 80% of the way there, then you start playing with color or texture, whichever one it's going to be, and you finish it up from there.
And how do you pick movements? Because it used to be you were big into the 4R/NH type Seiko movements, but it seems like a lot of your new releases now have moved to Miyota, especially the higher beat movements, the 9000 series.
So it's pretty much, I mean, I want to say it's based on availability. It's based on the companies that really make affordable quality movements. So Seiko is number one. I want to say they're number one, but Seiko was one choice. Citizen Miyota is another choice. And then you've got Solita if you want a 3-hand or something simple like that. Other than that, you could do a Joux Paré, but that's like getting the Miyota. There's not many other options. Once you get into like Seiko, you want an NH 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, or 3.8. Which one do you want? But when you get to Miyota, wow, Miyota's got crazy options. We have the Greenport's got some kind of Fakakta 8205 with a vertical day date at the bottom. They have power reserve movements. They do so much more, in the 8,000 and in the 9,000. I did the 9,000 literally because people asked for it. They wanted the higher beat movement. They wanted the thinner case. Like the newest story that came out, it's 9.2 millimeters thick. The North Port is, I think it's under 12 or right around 12 for a 200-meter diver. So, things like that, that's what kind of dictates it. If we feel like there's going to be a market for it. And to be honest with you, as more and more other companies start releasing watches with the 9015, it kind of just keeps upping the playing field. And we're kind of forced to go away from less expensive movements to try to keep up with the game.
Yeah, they're worth it though. I think the Brookville that I bought my girlfriend last Christmas, it has the 9015, right?
It does. Yep, it does.
And it's a great movement, great watch, never a problem with it. And I really do like the sweep.
It is the best. I put that movement up against any. I did a video on it. I put it up against an Etta or a Solita any day of the week. Most watchmakers will, and it performs amazingly. It is definitely my top performing movement in terms of reliability. When you look at the metrics for defects, returns, etc. I mean, Seiko, sure, they crush it in the financial arena. What is a mass? At the wholesale production level, an NH movement is probably $20 or $21. Yeah. That's amazing. Of course, a Miyota 821A is like $10, but that's definitely not as accurate. Whereas a 9015 is at least double that. So the price is there, but the quality is very impressive.
A question from our friend Trapp. I see that Mark opened up the opportunity for other YouTubers to possibly do a creative collaboration. How is that coming along?
Slowly. But it's going. I'm pretty much, I don't know, what am I down to, like 6 or 7 people or so? And now we're in Chinese New Year, just about. Well, it's actually now, isn't it? So a lot of things aren't going to happen for a few weeks, but it's coming. I'll admit that I'm a little slower than I want to be, but I'm kind of being also cautious because every one I say yes to is another $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that I'm going to have to invest. So I'm just kind of picking the right ones and making sure it's the right partnership. But some people were very, very thorough and took the task to heart, put together presentations, really put the best foot forward. And to me, that was impressive. And it was good to see because it means they're committed to the project and committed to doing something.
Yeah. But we want to remind folks that we will have a race at the end of the show. Ali's in the background and he's going to help us run the race. If you want to get into the race tonight, just send a super chat or a member chat or join the channel. We would love to have a bunch of new members on the channel this evening as well. If you do join the channel, you'll have access to our WhatsApp group, and you can talk to all of us 24/7 because we love you and we want to talk to you. Not really, but I
saw that last week. What is a race? Can you explain it to me?
Oh, sure. So we have a little, could be horses or what other kind of race. Everybody who super chats gets into it. And then that goes for a monthly prize. The winner of that race gets into a monthly race for a monthly prize. Our last week, Jody threw in a watch, which was incredible. We never had anything like that before. So So yeah,
I can't have them outdoing me, can I?
I don't know. Can you?
Okay, well, I will see that offer.
All right. So
All
if you want to win an Islander tonight, we're not sure which one, but Mark will pick one out for you.
Absolutely.
Send in your super chat. Join the channel.
They can pick
member
it.
chat.
How's that sound? They can pick it.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Take that, Jody.
Yeah. Boom, bam, Jody. So if you want to get into the race, that's what you're racing for tonight, friends, along with the end of the month race as well. So, hey, get those super chats in, get those member chats in, join the channel, whatever. And we'll also pick a couple of free entries at the end and get some folks in there for free as well. So we do thank you, first of all, Mark, for your generosity, because that's awesome. Secondly, I'm going to have to put a super chat in myself, which I hardly ever do.
Isn't there
on the
aren't
shows
there one
I
of those
host.
things? It's like family members and friends of the Watch Hangout are not eligible.
That's right. Well, that's not how we work here.
The two guys who can run the races, I'm one of them. We're not eligible. Everybody else is fair game. I will announce if anybody has my Zelle, I will take bribes to fix races.
Excellent. Funny.
Oh,
funny,
man.
funny.
So, and we do, speaking of member chats, Mossy, bravo, Mark, very generous. Consider this my pony entry. And of course, Jin G, who's on the panel, put me in the race. I'm going for the Astoria. Very good. Very good. We've got Rufus in for member for 8 months in the race. We've got the ghost of Yiddish Gambino, Nate, is in the race. 18K carat perpetual calendar. Do you have one of those, Mark?
Not yet.
And not by the time you could win the watch, Nate. So sorry. Hot Watchers in for $2. Thank you so much, Hot Watcher. Bill is in. I'm definitely in the race. Von Cruel became a member of the channel. Thanks, man. We appreciate you becoming a member of the channel. That's awesome. If you want to get into the WhatsApp group, you need to direct message the Watch Hangout on Instagram, or you can email the watchhangout@gmail.com and get into the WhatsApp group. We'd love to have you in there as well. Let's see. We've got Turtle Knight, Jody who? We've got Jay Giddy. I hope I have a fast plane or whatever we're racing tonight. And BB, super sticker for $1.99. Thank you so much, sir. Old Timey, $4.99. Count me in. And watch, it's Brian, just so I can hear Robert say, Jewish space laser. There you go, my friend. Appreciate it. Goodness. You got us going crazy tonight. We've got Thomas Burnett again up at 3 a.m. in England watching us this evening. Mark, do you prefer the longevity of servicing, say 15 years, and disposability of the ANH movement, or the supposed better accuracy of the Miotas?
Do I prefer the longevity? See,
I guess the lack of service interval.
Yeah, I would say they're both fine. I mean, as silly as it sounds, I do not believe in servicing the NH movement at all, unless it's something stupid, like it just needs regulation. You really can't do much.
Yeah.
You can't do much to it before you breach the cost of you can get them off of eBay for what, $26 or something, $30. And if you know what you're doing, you replace it yourself. A real watchmaker will probably do it for $40. So for under $100, just to swap out the whole movement, that's the way to roll. The Miyota, though, certainly is workable, but you can do a full overhaul on a 9015. You're looking at, I don't know, that even then it becomes close. It really does, in my opinion, becomes close. At that point, I believe it's just a tinkerer's dream, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm one of those crazy people that likes to mess around with the NH-4R movements and get them as accurate as possible.
Well, yeah, and as someone just commented that the forearm movements are sloppy and not nice to adjust. They're not. You can move the lever a micron and it swings 15 seconds.
It's very difficult to do it right.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of patience on the time grapher and a lot of fiddling to get both the lift angle, not the lift angle, to get both the beat error and the timing just exactly right.
You know, you solve that, you never wear the same watch 2 days in a row.
That's right.
Problem solved.
That's right. Let me.
The thing that always gets me is in my Seikos, which clearly have Seiko movements. They're almost all lousy timekeepers. But in my micro brands that have Seiko, NH, whatever, they can keep great time.
Yeah, it's because Seiko doesn't. Well, this is just me surmising. Seiko just doesn't regulate their movements.
Yeah, which is.
I mean, that's kind of what I don't want to say history has taught me, but that's what experience has taught me. When I see, you know, when I sell a turtle for 500 and change, and it's gaining 45 seconds a day, and I sell an Islander pilot watch for $199 and it's 3 seconds a day.
Yeah,
it's just
Yeah,
and
my
I
turtle.
get it from Seiko's point of view. I'm not. I can defend them day in, day out for everything they do. I get it. They are in the numbers game.
Yeah, my turtle was plus 35 when I got it from you guys. It's now -2. Thank you very much. Anthony Steve, $4.99. Very nice of you, Mark. Welcome to the Hangout.
Thank
Doc
you.
Mick of Florida.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, well, listen, you don't have to stay all the way to
it's
the
okay.
end.
I'm
I'd love
fun.
you to.
My wife
going to be on for.
She goes, "You're going to fall asleep on camera." I said, "I'll be fine. Don't worry."
We've only got 20 more minutes.
I'll bring you a cup of coffee.
I'm in it. I'm in it.
Doc Mick, I'm in. Doc Mick in Florida. Thank you so much, sir. We've got AI for $1.99. Got my 007 and ISL 01 from Mark, and love them both.
Awesome.
There you go. We've got the Captain in for $2. Great show, Mark. Thank you. Cap. Hopefully tonight it'll be another loser because I'm going to get mine in real quick. Majestic 12, 99-cent super sticker. Majestic, thank you so much. You're in. Ryan Hofrey, thanks for the past Seiko discontinued list, Mark.
People love those videos.
Yeah, I do too. It's nice to know what's coming up because you're certainly not going to hear that from the brand.
No,
or at least, the everyday public doesn't.
I only find out when I am, ordering. My rep will come back and say, "Hey, discontinued, phasing out, blah, blah, blah." And that's how I know.
So I have a weird question for you, and I have a couple of JDM Seikos.
Okay.
And the finishing on those always seems better than what's sold here. Mm-hmm. Do you find that, or is that the case that the JDMs are better?
Well, when you say JDM, you mean like a JDM turtle or like a JDM, like a Sarks?
Yeah, one of the upper scale. They sell them for about $400. You can get them, or 400, 480. The black dial.
I don't know.
Frame date window.
I can't speak in absolute terms. I can only say what I kind of suppose, and I kind of suppose that they save the better stuff for themselves. That's kind of what I get out of it. So I've heard that from a lot of people. I don't know if it's necessarily true or if you just kind of feel that because you bought a JDM and it's got a Japanese day on it.
Yeah.
I honestly 100% can't say for certain, because then you have like your J model Seikos, which are not JDMs back in the day, and they were finished just the same as the K models, even though they had the made in Japan stamp on the dial and on the case back. My turtles, a lot of my fives, my samurais, they all have made in Japan on the dial and made in Japan on the case back, and they're Seiko USA models. What does that mean? I have no idea. Does it come out of the same factory that JDMs come out of? I wish I knew, honestly. I mean, they're very, I want to say they're very secretive, but they don't really show their cards too often.
Yeah. We've got one from our other panelist, Mitch. Give my regards to Northport and Astoria. You can't have two if you win, Mitch. Sorry. Up and you're muted, sir. Here, I can unmute you. Go ahead.
I can say hello though.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you too about another kind of Seiko related question, and kind of how that leads into you getting into your own company. Had Seiko not discontinued the SKX 007, 009, 013, all the other ones,
I don't know.
would you have done it?
Why would I have to?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They kind of forced my hand. Like I've been dabbling. It's not like I'm doing drugs. I've been dabbling in the parts market since I think I started in parts sometime in like 2018. I started with bezels. Yeah, I started with bezels and bezel inserts. That's how it started. And by the time, they did the disco, people are buying the parts from, like, if you want us to put one together for you, we put one together for you. I'm like, huh? And then that's how the whole thing started. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think, I said in the beginning, like right time, right place. Would the right place, I don't know, would the right time have been a year later? I might have been too late at that point. I don't know. They definitely did me the biggest favor in the world by discontinuing the models.
We've got one Pasher, $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. Great job to the Watch Hangout super crew. Robert, I have to say, you have the best voice in the watch community. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Doesn't necessarily mean I can talk. So easy to listen to. Mark, great to see you on the panel. Cheers to all. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hope you're well, Sean. Hope you're well and safe. He's out in LA.
Oh, man. And of course I'm in as well. Because I can't stay away from a giveaway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I have 30 watches. I want that one.
I understand. Believe me, I'm there. I've been there. Yeah. I opened my drawer this morning. I'm like, I don't think I have watches I haven't even worn yet. I bought the Christopher Ward desk diver and I haven't even sized it yet.
What? Yeah. I just saw that watch again the other day on Instagram. And I was like, man, if I had the money, I totally would have bought the desk diver. It's such a, it's the perfect, shtick for a watch.
It's the perfect mockery.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Watch Chris do a video on it. And before he finished the video, I was like, you know what? That's not going to last.
Yeah.
So I bought one. I'm like, you know what? Because maybe I'll do a video. Maybe I'll do something with it. And then I got it and I do like it. And now it's in the drawer.
Speaking of in the drawer, we want to welcome Captain in. He's here. And no, you're not frozen. I thought you were frozen there for a minute, man. You're not moving.
Let it
How
go.
are you doing?
Let it go. No, I'm not frozen. I just want to say hello. How you doing, Mark? Thanks for coming on tonight. Really greatly appreciated.
Oh, you're
amazing
welcome.
Job and all the best of continued success.
Thank you.
With the Islander Watch and your company. You've done a tremendous job and really enjoy your content. And in honor of you being on, I pulled out the Seiko Rowing Blazers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
As Robert knows, I have two. I have the other one, the second generation, the Seiko 5 with the green dial that I'm looking to move on. And I just wanted to ask, I saw, if I may, Robert, I was watching the TGV, the latest YouTube you did, another informative show. I like the chemistry between you guys that you guys have, and you seem like you really enjoy each other's company and share a lot of watch knowledge with everybody. You had mentioned AliExpress, I think both of you, and concerns about, I guess, some counterfeiting of certain watches. I just wanted to ask you about that because I don't go on that site, so I just don't know what that's all about. So what's happening there?
I'm going to do a video on it for sure. So here's what happened when I started looking for the Casio manga. I wanted the Casio the manga. I saw it online. So I saw it on Instagram. I was like, I want that watch. And of course, it's sold out. No one sells it anymore. And I just do like we all do, right? So I Google it and I click on the AliExpress link, and they're selling it. And it says a G-Shock at the top. It says G Show You, like SHOCHU or something. I don't know. It looks just like the watch. And I'm like, wow. And it's like $23. So anyway, I went to eBay and I bought one from a reputable seller, like, I don't know, $300 or so. And after I got it, I was like, that's crazy. I want to buy that other watch and I want to see what it looks like. So I bought it. And while I'm surfing around, I get a text from Ty Alexander. He's my photographer. He's on Instagram too. And he's like, did you see this? And it's a brew, except it's on AliExpress.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's crazy. He's like, I wonder what Jonathan thinks. So I text Jonathan. And Jonathan's like, oh, Mark, it's a disaster. I've been dealing with AliExpress, blah, 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 blah. So I bought the fake brew. And then as I'm surfing around, I come across a Seiko Patty for $97. Patty Turtle.
Wow.
I got to buy that. I buy that too.
Yeah.
Because I have all these watches. I have the reels now. So I got all three of them. I have the reels. I have the fakes. And I'm going to do a video on it and talk about it. The brew is a real piece of shit. I mean, excuse me, but it really is. Like, it looks like a $14 watch. They did it kind of looks like a brew, but from 10 feet away, you can tell it isn't. Then the G-Shock is freaking impressive because it says G-Shock on the watch. It doesn't say G Show You. That's only for the AliExpress. It's different. Wow. The blue of the plastic is a little bit darker, but it's the same movement. And then there's misspellings when you open the case back about replacing the batteries, but the watch itself is perfection. The Seiko, though, oh man, comes in a Seiko Real Prospex box with the lid heavy on it and stuff. Comes with the warranty booklet and card. It's the wrong hang tag. It's a 5 hang tag. And you open the watch and you're like, the watch is, my goodness, a split second. You're like, wow, it's a Patty Turtle. And then you pick it up and you start looking at it. And then you're like, well, this is kind of funny. The day and date is way off center, which you think, oh, it's Seiko anyway. but it's way. It's actually occluded by the window. So it's wrong. And so I opened it up and it's a Chinese movement. It's not even a Seiko movement. So yeah, so I'm going to do a video on it. It was very surprising to me that they let these fakes run around and use, copyright material from other vendors. The brew listing was like worn and wound photos. It was crazy.
Wow.
Now the watch doesn't have the brew logo on it.
Right.
It doesn't have the coffee bean, but everything else about it is very similar. Well, the movement is garbage. I mean, garbage. I think it's a $3 movement. But yeah, that's all. I just I really went down the rabbit hole, and I wound up spending $150 in fakes, which I feel bad about. So I asked Jonathan for his favorite charity. I'm going to donate like $500 to his favorite charity, just so I can kind of offset some of the negativity. But yeah, no, to me, it was just kind of fascinating that, you get a fake Seiko Patty. It's $95. Spend a couple $100 more, you get the real thing. I just don't see it. But
no,
anyway.
and they've got fake speed timers as well that you can get for
everything. They have fake
like
moon
$65
watches.
or something. Yeah.
And I know they do, and I've always known these things exist, but because it would be, I guess, it would be naive to say, oh, this doesn't exist, but it's kind of insane, I would say, because people are in the comments. They're like, oh, I bought this, and it looks just like the real thing. So yeah, you're buying it knowing it's not real. It's bananas.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. don't condone it either, obviously,
Yeah.
ripping,
No, I get
ripping
it.
off. Yeah, no, and I know, but it's good you're kind of shining a light on it and talking about it as well.
Yeah, just for it's a conversation, really. It's hopefully I don't get too much heat for it, because I know YouTube doesn't always like talking about fakes, but whatever, just kind of figure it out.
Some people who knowingly buy fakes, I think, are doing it because they think they're putting one over on the man.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's just stupid. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm with you.
Micah Tyler, $5 super chat, and you're in for the race tonight as well. Mark, what do you think of the new rubber two-piece straps from Marathon that they just released? I've been eyeing the SS Navigator. Of course, Marathon's a brand that you sell as well.
I have to claim, I don't want to say ignorance, just released. I mean, they came out with a new rubber strap like a year ago. I don't know what else they might have just come out with. I've told them I think their rubber straps are extremely expensive and overpriced. I think they're a few $100s for a rubber strap. And I know it costs them a lot of money to manufacture, because they're actually making the rubber in Switzerland, which is impressive. But I mean, their straps are beautiful on their like G-SARs and T-SARs. Their straps are amazing. They're very nice. Are they worth $300 or $400? That's a hard sell for me.
And of course, if you want a bracelet for your G-SAR or T-SAR,
I wasn't going to say it.
You can get one from Highlander. Yeah, well, I'm going to say it because they're great bracelets.
Yeah,
we've got a $5 super chat from Jack Kowalski or Kowalski. I'm sorry, Jack. We got one $5 super chat from Jack. How's that? Thank you so much for being here this evening. You're in the race as well. Our friend Watching James from Australia. It's worth remembering that AliExpress has good and bad sellers. Some sellers are amazing, are some selling amazing watches, others being dodgy and selling fakes.
Absolutely. I mean, San Martin that's where you buy a San Martin, which again, and then when I did my San Martin video, I explained that. I said, in kind of like an open letter to them, I said, hey, you guys really need, again, and I know other people think it's kind of ethnocentric the way I approached it, and Europeans buy watches too, which I understand, but Americans don't buy, as a whole, don't buy stuff off of Chinese websites. They simply don't, and especially not one with horrible wording. And it's so difficult to find your way around it. I feel like they could do so much more business.
And a reminder that our race entries are closing in about 30 seconds, because we're going to have the race at the end for an Islander of your choice.
Oh, my goodness.
The winner's choice. So, man, that's I got to tell you, I was blown away.
The connection's getting a little shoddy here.
Yeah, right.
It's going in and out. I don't know why the screen. What's happening there?
Wait,
Mark,
what?
It's black.
What did I say?
Mark, come in. Come in, Mark.
Any final questions from folks while we're waiting on the race? Jen, you got anything?
One question I have with the new Astoria, I'm seeing some nods to a watch that starts with an FP and it ends with a Journe. And
really?
I was wondering if you might do a red version of that.
Wow. An FP Journe?
Elegant.
Do a red version of the Astoria or of an FP Journe?
No, of the Astoria, because the red one that they have for FP is only from their restaurant.
Oh.
And you have to be selected to have it. And there's only like 100.
I haven't heard the FP. I mean, the day is young, but I've been hearing about it looks like a Laurier. It looks like a Cartier. And now I hear an FP Journe. When in truth, it's just a non-round watch.
Right.
Really, the inspiration was Cartier, because that's kind of what I think of. So at last check before I hopped on, the white version was almost half sold out already. The blue was a third, and the black was nowhere near as much. So judging by the success that it seems to be having, I could see us expanding it into different colors. As I said, I think like 5 or 6 colors. I know there was a purple.
Okay.
There was, I think, a mint green that we had as well.
Ooh, yeah.
And then we just chose, 3 safe colors, I guess.
Sure.
Well, the blue being the stretch. And it came out wonderfully. So yeah, no, I absolutely would do other colors.
Okay.
Judging by the success of it.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
I like the one.
Since there's a lot on the line, we are gonna do the race audit a little bit slower tonight. Before we do, as a reminder, Robert, not as a reminder, Mark, we actually did a show last year, maybe it was in 2023, on counterfeits. And people were shocked to find out that like the funding, for example, the first World Trade Center bombing was funded entirely by counterfeits being sold in front of the World Trade Center.
Right.
And then there's been a fairly new report which ties a number of AliExpress, Alibaba style vendors that are funding their back-end fentanyl and fentanyl derivative work with by selling counterfeits and stuff like that. So we might do an updated show on that on one of the Tuesday nights coming here.
Sure.
So we're going to add to the stage the race list. We have 30 official entries, and I added one so far as the free entry. So look for your name. I've audited this list a few times, but starting with JD Smoky Bites, this goes in order of either the super chat, the membership, member chat, member milestone chat. JD's Mold being Nate, some of the nicknames in there. Got Brian the Pipe, another nickname in there, but we know who these people are. Ryan Hoffrey, got Sean, Bonpasher, and then I added Trap Vision in.
Very good.
Because he was very active and also very supportive. I don't know, as the host, if you want to throw another person in there, Robert.
Well, I was going to add Trap, and so I think you have added the person that I was going to add. If anybody else has anybody they'd like to add, go ahead. If not, I think we're good.
All right, we're good with this list, and we are doing planes in honor of Mark. So we'll go with our normal 44 seconds, set it. We are going to adjust the volume so it doesn't blast people out. Give it a shuffle, and Robert, you have the call.
All right. And they're off. And I mean, they've taken off. Ryan Hoffrey is in the lead. Jack, is, because I can't say his last name, second place. But we've got a whole pack of people coming up. Let's see. I think we've got a new leader. Anthony C., I believe. Is that the new leader? No, it's... it's somebody 12. But
Majestic 12 is the new leader.
They're not going to win. We got Uncle Curly is coming up. Look at Uncle Curly. But
Brian the Pipe on the outside.
Brian the Pipe. It looks like Brian the Pipe's going to win it. Man. And you're going to be sending a watch from Florida. Isn't Brian the one who wanted the 18 karat gold? No, that was JJ's Mold who wanted the 18 karat gold. Brian the Pipe, congratulations.
That's hysterical.
So that's nice. And let me just double check that.
That's impressive. It gets a winner banner too. Look at that.
Yeah. Brian, if you are in the chat and you want to tell us on air, we can pull up the watch. Otherwise, I'm sure that one of us, running Brian up, will find Brian and sort out. So, Robert, I assume you have Mark's contact information.
Yes, I absolutely do. So
I will
give
let
that to you, Brian.
Yeah, I will. Well, if you could proxy it, so just make sure. That happens. And because Von Cruel said something, I just want to double check real quick. Let me take that off, and we'll kill the music is all I want to do.
Yeah, that music was driving me crazy.
There we go. I'm okay. I'll put it back on and just kill the music. And go to registration. The list. Von Cruel is on the list. Yeah. So I did see at the beginning, I just want to double check he said something that there wasn't. Watch It Brian is in the chat. So I don't know, Brian, if you already know what you want.
Brian.
I
tell you what, Brian, we're gonna drop the link, and we're gonna do the after show real quick because Mark's got to go to sleep. But jump on and give us your information on the after show. There's the StreamYard link. Jump on with us, Brian, and give us your information on the after show, and we'll get you taken care of, man. And I want to thank everybody for being here this evening, especially our guest, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I really do appreciate it. It was so nice meeting you as well.
I appreciate it.
I always like meeting the people that are taking me to bankruptcy. So, but in a good way. In a good way.
Thank you for putting my son into college.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. If you
At Penn State?
Texas,
yeah,
Penn State alum. Texas State instead of Penn State, that would have been better.
Yeah.
But, you know. So, hey, we want to thank you all again, and we leave you with 2024, hopefully 2025 soon, Mr. GMT.
Can't beat my meat. Awesome homemade Greek style food. Come and get it. Our awesome gyros. Come and get it. Our big breakfast. Come and get it. Our Wednesday special charcoal pork shifty and souvlaki. Come and get it. Our Thursday special cabbage roll day. Come and get it. And our biggest seller, Souvla Day. Tuesday, Friday. Come and get it. And don't forget, in 2024, come and get it and you won't regret it.